evening, Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Sorry, I was just checking that my share screen and everything was going to work. So we're all up and running. All is looking good. So well done for making it here. I know that there's load shedding down in Cape Town. So I've been practically getting messages from a whole lot of people saying, oh, sorry, there's load shedding. Please make sure you send me the recording. So I think we might be down a few people today, but that's fine. We'll still go ahead with our talk this evening. So welcome. You're all warmly, warmly welcome. Let me share my screen here with you. So we're going to be doing a talk on the 5 Koshas and aging gracefully, just so that we're all in the right place at the right time. I would suggest that you maybe open your little chat box, and in that chat box, if you maybe share who you are, what you're doing, if you're able to type, and maybe one, Mom, don't give me that look. I can see you. And maybe one positive takeaway that you've gained this week, or that you've done this week. So for example, my positive takeaway this week is that I managed to go for a daily walk and do a meditation every morning, which is lovely. So that's made me feel good. So I'd love you, if you're not able to kind of chat, write in the chat, then just unmute yourself and actually have a little chat with us and say who you are, where you're from, what the story is, and your one positive gain. So you're welcome to just, I'm sure you should be able to unmute yourself. Just making sure. While I wait for those little comments to come in, or for people to unmute themselves, I'm just going to stop share for a moment so that I can disable the waiting room so people can come straight in if they're able to, if they're running a bit late. There we go, that should be fine. All right, so we're back into it. There we go, we're here. Lovely. So while I wait for what you have to say, I'll just give you a quick rundown as to who I am. So I am Nina Saacks. I'm a yoga teacher. I've got a yoga studio in Takai. I also started the brand Yoga Awakening Africa that many of you may know, the yoga magazine that we brought out in 2008. And it's kind of gone through a lot of changes. So from a magazine, it went into a blog post, it went into my travel adventures, and now it's my yoga health coaching journey. Yoga teacher. So I've got some lovely teachers still teaching in my studio in Cape Town. I'm a yoga teacher trainer, one of the directors at the Academy of Yoga and Ayurveda. I love to host yoga retreats, so I've done some in Cape Town, some in Tanzania, and there's one happening in Mozambique next month. I started a brand called Nourish and Restore with a really great friend, Nicole. We were doing houseboat retreats, and because of the pandemic, we've actually turned that brand into podcasts. So we do a weekly podcast on an aspect of yoga. We often share a yoga class, a breathing practice, a pranayama. So if you haven't come across Nourish and Restore yet, head over to that Facebook page and you'll find some really great info there. I love traveling. I also call myself a farm girl. I'm now living on a farm in Mozambique with my partner, and animal lover. I kind of get like all the animal rescues, and at the moment we've got a little thrush fledgling that I'm looking after. He was found in the field somewhere with while they were plowing, so he got brought to me. And then obviously these talks are all forming part of my yoga health coaching training. So pretty much what I'm doing is trying to bring a little bit of order and rhythm to chaos so that we are all able to reach the next level of our health, the next level of our vitality, and the next level of our dharma. so that we can literally live a happier, healthier, and more vibrant life. And I'd love to do that by inspiring others and those who I come into contact with. All right, I can see there's no one's been brave enough to write in the chat where they're calling in from and what they do. So we'll go on, and maybe as the evening progresses, you'll get a little braver with interacting with me. Let me think of something else. I know Ronel's here. She's also a yoga teacher. So I'm very excited to have her join in this conversation with us. So pretty much how the evening will work, just so that there's structure, so that you don't need to worry about anything. Bonnie's joined. Welcome, Bonnie. I haven't seen Bonnie in years. So she's also a yoga teacher in... The last time I remember, you were out in Komaki, if I remember correctly, Bonnie. So I'm not sure if that's still right. She was brilliant. Okay, so the reason why I'd asked everyone to kind of, even if you don't type it in, as to kind of say what we sometimes call it a brag, or your positive thing is that you did, and is that we can always start on a positive note. So when we kind of come in and we've had a heavy day and whatnot, we kind of sometimes have a little bit of heavy energy. But when we think of at least one positive thing that has happened in the day or that has happened in the week, then we really start on a lighter and happier note. So my mom, Connie, is here. She used to teach yoga as well. We actually started teaching together. We trained together, and she lives above the yoga studio. Okay, well done. So pretty much how this evening will work, we'll start with a centering practice, because that's pretty much a pivotal start to yoga and any practice. And I always love to do a centering practice. Then we'll chat about the flows of energy. We'll get into the 5 koshas, the 5 sheaths. We'll chat about why it's important to nourish each of the layers, what aging gracefully means, because it can mean different things to different people. We'll chat about practices that help to nourish each of the koshas. We'll do a lovely Yoga Nidra practice, because again, Yoga Nidra is my absolute favorite. And then I'll give you a quick rundown, a minute or two, on what my program Shifting from Chaos to Rhythm is all about. And then I'll leave some time for questions and answers. So that is that. Hopefully that structure kind of can make you feel a little secure and happy, so you know what's going to happen. You're well taken care of with me, and you'll be able to relax nicely for this next hour. So I invite you now to pretty much sit comfortably. If you feel that you need to do centering lying down, if that's what's drawing to you, you can do that. If you want to switch off your screen, if you don't want to be disturbed, do that. But wherever you are, close your eyes for a moment and just observe your breath. So notice the breath as it flows in and slowly out. And notice if the breath and the awareness feel like moving up with the inhalation and down with the exhalation. Or if your awareness feels like moving down with the inhalation and up with the exhalation. Again, neither way is wrong. Just feel what comes naturally this evening to you. And feeling that, you can draw the attention from the crown of your head down to the tip of your tailbone. And from the tip of your tailbone back up to the crown of your head. The breath will get slower and longer. You're breathing up and down Sushumna Nadi, your central energy channel. Connecting to the consciousness, the space, the energy that is all around you, that is deep within you. Feel how with your awareness and your breath that channel is becoming clearer. allowing the mind to become still. So all the agitation, all the busyness settling, being present and allowing yourself to bring that sense of clarity and focus to our chat for the next hour or so. And taking a moment to acknowledge the space you're in. And then gently release. When you're ready, bring the palms of your hands together, rubbing them, cupping your hands over your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in, slowly out. Start to blink the eyes a few times, getting used to the light. Don't look straight at the screen yet. Just kind of look down or away or into the distance. And when the time feels ready, feel that you can then bring your focus back to our chat. Lovely. Nice. So hopefully we're all feeling a little more settled and kind of in a comfortable space. So I thought I would just share the flows of energy. So we did the first one, pretty much this up and down energy. We often use that in yoga and meditation, where we just follow the breath up and down, and it really doesn't matter. Generally what we do is, if you find that the energy is all out there, that we inhale down to ground and then exhale up to release. Sometimes it feels more comfortable to breathe. Inhale from the base to the top and exhaling down, especially if you want to bring a little bit more lightness to our disposition. So again, depending on where you are, your mental attitude or space, feeling how heavy and light you are, whatever comes naturally is how you work. So we often use that in yoga. The other one that we often use in meditation or yoga nidra, or which I love to use, is the expansion and the contraction. So the inhaling, where you feel that lovely sense of expansion, and then exhaling the contraction. All right. And can you see the last little block there on the right? Just nod yes or no, because I don't know if, yes, you can. Okay, the green one, great. So what we have, the fourth one that I'm just going to touch on, is directional. And this I love to actually use in my yoga practice, where we focus on the shoulders and the hips out to the limbs. So kind of like inhaling from the 4 points down to the tip of your limbs, and then exhaling back up. So when you're doing things like a cat stretch or a downward dog, you're kind of like drawing the energy up and down. So that's a nice little exercise to do when you're working with your yoga posture. So I thought I'd just bring that in. And the reason why I wanted to chat about the flows of energy is because if you think of a line that runs through the center, so from the crown of your head down to the tail. So if you imagine that that's the line, that's the kind of your Sushumna Nadi, the central energy channel. If we now turn that point forward, so we bring it forwards, and it is, I don't know if you can see, but literally the tip of a pen or pencil, we kind of get to pure consciousness. And this is where we start with the koshas. So from that point of consciousness, that energy of pure consciousness, or your soul or your spirit, you have your bliss sheath that covers it, your Anandamaya-Kosha that surrounds that bliss sheath. And all the sheaths are then going to be coming kind of like around that central point, going out and out and out. And when we talk about Anandamaya-kosha, it is kind of the most etheric aspect of ourselves. It's the ether element. It's your spiritual body surrounding the light of consciousness. So it is the softest, most gentle, most etheric part to our being of substance. Then the next layer that I want to quickly bring in is the intuitive sheath, which is now around the Anandamaya-kosha and around your bliss sheath, which is the Vijnanamaya-kosha. And this is the intuitive aspect, and we all have that. It's kind of like when you say, you know, I'm not quite ready to do that yet. And you go and do it anyway, and then you go and get hurt, and you kind of knew better that maybe you shouldn't have done it. There was something inside of you that said, don't go do it. Like, don't go and pick up that pan that has just come out of the oven. And we do it with a lot of aspects in our life. Or there's sometimes kind of like a feeling from deep within that you just know you need to be having a conversation with this person or meeting this person. There's just a feeling within inside you intuitively that you need to be reaching out to them. So that is our intuitive sheath. The next sheath we look at in this with the 5 koshas is the mental emotional sheath. So the Manomaya-kosha. And this is where it's our thoughts and awareness, and how our thoughts are linked to our emotions. And it's kind of like the chicken and the egg story, where, what comes first? Is it the thought or the emotion? What influences what here? Because our thoughts can influence our emotions, and our emotions can definitely influence our thoughts. So there's such an interconnection between the two. And we'll be addressing kind of this Manomaya-kosha, this mental emotional sheath tonight as well. Then the Pranamaya-kosha, the next sheath, which is the energy sheath, the pranic body sheath. It is a little kind of less etheric. It's related to the water element. So there's a sense of flow, and it also is kind of like flows between all the sheaths, the layers, kind of bringing energy and clarity to all of them. And then the very last kosha that we're going to be chatting about is the Anandamaya-kosha. So your food sheath, which is the most gross sheath. It's the physical part of us. It's the physical body. And I'm just trying to think. And exactly, directly related to the earth element. So we've got the 5 sheaths. We've got pure consciousness in the center, and we've got the 5 sheaths around it. And sometimes it's depicted the other way. They're different schools and trains of thought when it comes to the 5 koshas. Again, neither is wrong. For me, this makes the most sense, but it could also work the other way, where you've got your physical body, and then the subtler layers move outwards. So I'm just kind of bringing that up now, that there are 2 different trains of schools of thought. We're not going to go into the ins and outs of that now and discuss that. This is beyond the scope of what we're going to be doing. But just that when you come across your research or what it is you're doing, that there is that. So you'll often get these kind of images where on the right you'll see kind of the Russian dolls. That's a nice way to think of it, where there's always kind of like one that fits into another. There's always a smaller, more subtle one that we connect to. And then the one with the person there, I wonder if my mouse will work, not sure. That's also a very common one. And then I like to use the circle ones because it's very simple one to draw, and my brain works kind of better in shapes. The main thing that we pretty much want to acknowledge is that it's important that all these layers get nourished simultaneously, because we need them all healthy, working together so that they can work as a whole. So we're not just our physical beings, we are energy beings as well. And it's very easy to realize or connect or see when our physical being is out of balance, because it is, that's where we then feel aches or pains, or we feel groggy in the morning and we can't really get out of bed easily. But the subtler ones, especially the intuitive body, sometimes, or the bliss body, are very difficult to kind of connect with or see on a day-to-day basis, but realizing that they all impact each other. And, we can't just focus on one layer. What's happening here? We can't just focus on one layer. For example, we can't just focus on the mind, the Manomaya layer, the mind sheath, without acknowledging or bringing some care into the physical body. And the same as we can't just nourish and nurture the physical body and completely forget about our wisdom layer or our intuitive body. So again, all of them need to be nicely nourished so that as a whole we can thrive, we can have abundant energy, feeling alive and vibrant. Great. So we are actually perfectly on time, which makes me so happy. Now I'm going to ask you to help me a little with this one, and you can throw it in the chat, or you're welcome to unmute yourself. But what I wanted to kind of brainstorm a little is this idea of aging gracefully and what it means to you. So it could be on a physical level or aspect, it could be on a mental, it could have something to do with the fact or looking at like chronic systemic inflammation, it could have an aspect to do with your beliefs. So if you'd like to unmute and have a little chat, you can do so. If you'd prefer to just maybe type in the chat what kind of aging gracefully looks like to you, or what you would like it to represent for you as you age, hopefully gracefully with time, let me know, and we can throw those out. Let's see if anyone's ready to unmute themselves or chat. Okay, here we go. Greater wisdom. Great. All right. I see that was a direct message to me from lovely. I like that. So kind of aging gracefully and just gaining more wisdom, more knowledge, kind of being able to possibly even share that with others, the gained wisdom. That's a lovely one. I mean, and physical health, you know, maybe just wanting to get out of bed and making sure that the body feels ache-free, pain-free, that it feels light and mobile. There we go. Bonnie saying lovely, retaining physical mobility and clear, crisp mind. I definitely would agree with that one, Bonnie. I think a lot of people as we age, you know, the idea of Alzheimer's is really, really scary. Also, mental stress and anxiety. When we look at, and a big one that has come up kind of in our course is this idea of chronic systemic inflammation, where when there's inflammation within the body, it's not able to heal itself as quickly and as easily as it was able to in the past. And that can then lead to kind of bigger problems. So your cholesterol, your diabetes, your heart conditions, your strokes, your cancers, your MS, and it goes on and on and on. And when we start having to deal with all of those in our life, it puts so much more stress on our physical body, and then all those other layers as well. So when we're able to reduce the inflammation within our system, we can try to avoid, you know, the cholesterol, the heart disease, all of those nasties that tend to come up. And Ronald's saying the acceptance of bodily changes and not fighting it, gentle flowing along the life path. Exactly. There's just the body is going to age, but also where I've got written there kind of beliefs. What are our beliefs about aging? We don't have to age with complete agony and pain. You know, we can age really gracefully, and that there can be an easefulness to how our body feels and how our mind feels. We just need to nurture all the koshas, all the layers. Great. So thanks so much, guys, for all that insight and feedback. That was great. And what we can move on to is actually getting into the sheaths now, and what we can do for ourselves to now nourish each of these layers. Not difficult practices, maybe just being reminded of them and kind of getting into the space where we then actually do them on a regular basis. So the first sheath, the most the grossest, most kind of vibrant sheath out there, that tangible sheath that we can connect to, is our physical sheath, so the physical body. And it's obviously nurturing and nourishing in as healthily as possible way. That was terrible English. But since this is the earth element, you really want to be nourishing yourself with healthy foods. We're obviously not going to do that all the time. And that is fine, obviously. But we don't want to be constantly over bombarding the body with unnecessary, stressful, inflammatory foods, especially if we've got aches or pains, or if we have injuries. That's when we really want to be focusing on eating clean and healthy, so that that inflammation can get out and not cause long-lasting problems. So having your main meal, and in Ayurveda, at the midday, peak sun, when it's pita time, that is when you want to be having your biggest meal. And we went through the doshic clock in the sleep workshop. So if you haven't experienced the doshic clock and what we should be doing in the different phases of the day, then go back and watch that recording, because it's really, really helpful. But we want to be having our main meal at midday, and then really an earlier, lighter dinner, so that we can have an easy slipping into our evening routine and getting to bed early enough. And that's the other thing, sleep, making sure that we have enough good quality sleep. And it can, again, vary depending where you are in life and how much rest and recovery you need. Sometimes 6 hours is fine for someone if they're in a really healthy space. Some people it's 8, some people it's 10, some people it's 12. So the idea is getting to bed early enough and allowing yourself that full deep rest, so that when you wake up, you're feeling well rested in life and well and alive, hopefully, as well. But sleep vital, because that's the time when your body can rejuvenate itself. With regards to nourishing the body, feeding the body, we also want to make sure that we're kind of feeding the body at feeding times. So consistent feeding times, so that your Agni, your fire, knows exactly, when food is coming, pretty much how much food is coming. So it doesn't have to sit there and think, oh, okay, when is she feeding me? When is she feeding me? What is happening? It's kind of quite consistent, especially for those of us who have high Vata in us. Having consistent meal times is extremely beneficial. And the same goes with not like snacking all day and throwing food into Agni, because then it's literally our fire is going to have to be working and working and working and working over time, and there's no chance for it to rest. And then it's either going to implode, or it's going to kind of cause havoc in our system. So being very mindful of not just what we're eating, but how we're eating and when we're eating. And I'm just trying to look at my notes to see if there's anything else there. So these are like the habits that we talk about in the course, where you're wanting to meal space properly, you're wanting to eat healthily, not snack, all those Ayurvedic guidelines. And the last tip that I'm going to kind of give you with this Anandamaya-kosha, your physical sheath, is the sense of touch. We're beings that love touch, and Abhyanga, self-massage, is the most kind of nurturing thing you can be doing for yourself. So even if you don't like oil on your skin and you're just doing kind of dry brushing or dry massage, it's pretty much the way you give yourself self-love. And doing that in the mornings or the evenings, whatever it is, but trying to get an Abhyanga practice in regularly, especially for those Vatas out there, is very, very nurturing, and it really helps to kind of relax and settle the nervous system. Great. So healthy lifestyle practices, we've nurturing foods, earth element, your body and your environment, making sure your environment is conducive to a healthy lifestyle. All right, so that is Anandamaya-kosha. Let's move on to the Pranamaya-kosha, your energy sheath. And your Pranamaya-kosha is fed not just by is not fed by the food you eat, but it's fed by the prana. We get energy from energy. So there's kind of energy all around us when we do breath body practices, when we do walking, our yoga, so especially like salute to the suns or exercising. At least 20 minutes in the morning, that is when you are drawing the prana in. So you want to be able to make sure that you are eliminating, you are getting rid of all the waste first thing in the morning. So physically, you want to get rid of the waste, but then energetically as well, from kind of the night and sleeping, you want to move so that you can release all the stale toxins that are maybe within the system. And that when you release, you're creating space for new, and then you're able to draw in the fresh kind of prana and energy. And that's why doing breath body practices in that beautiful time, Bonnie will and Renal be able to tell me also it's Brahma Muhurti time, like just before the break of dawn. At that time when there's kind of that stillness or the birds are just about to tweet, that's that beautiful time. That is when you really want to be drawing in the abundant prana and universal energy. So we've got pranayama practices that we can do, and practices that are helpful can be different at different times and depending on what you're doing. So if you're moving kind of first thing in the morning, some really nice forceful expelling breaths can be helpful. What I love to do is during the day, especially kind of like at lunchtime and before having my earlier lighter dinner, is just to sit and kind of, this is going to sound weird, but like I'll check in like, hey, Pranamaya-kosha, how's it going? What are you needing? And sometimes it'll say to me, you know what, Nina, I need a bit of attention, focus on me. And then I'll realize, I just need to take a couple of breaths. And it's kind of giving space and awareness and time to that energy body within you, acknowledging it. And sometimes that's all kind of the Koshas need. It's kind of, if we give them a bit of a personality or awareness, I find it's easier to connect to them, especially when they start becoming more and more subtle. So I thought I would share that with you. And then again, in the evening, sometimes it's been a busy day, so I just really need to practice lengthening that exhalation and getting more into the kapha time of day, slowing things down and allowing the mind to become still. So you adapt and adjust the type of breathing practices, pranayama practices that you may need to do during the day. We all know and have experienced kind of pranayama. If we do Brahmari or the bee breath, so we can all do maybe a round or two of Brahmari, the bee breath. So you're just humming out through your nose. We'll do 2 rounds together. So you can take a nice deep breath in and then out. And again, breathing in. And you can keep your eyes closed for a moment if you want. And just notice the vibration, the tingling sensation within the body. You might even feel that there's a slight sense of warmth or a pulsating within you. Kind of there's a gentle state of flow. It's just shifted things. You're welcome to open your eyes again when you're ready. So when we connect and when we can feel the prana within us, kind of those are the sensations we feel. When there's a depletion of prana, then we notice kind of the aches and pains within the body. We kind of feel sluggish. We've got poor digestion. Our breathing isn't as smooth and easeful as it normally would be. All right, so that is just a little bit on Pranamaya-kosha, the energy sheath, and practices that you can do, and why, again, it's so important to be moving and breathing first thing in the morning, doing that after you've eliminated, to draw in kind of that positive energy prana. Super. So let's move on to Manomaya-kosha, the mental emotional sheath. And we really do need the pranic body and the kind of physical body as well to be quite clear, because this is directly related to our thoughts, our beliefs, and our emotions. And where Pranamaya-kosha was connected to the water element and the idea of flow and easeful living, the mind is connected, the mental sheath is connected to the fire element, where there's direction, where there's focus, where there's clarity. And kind of, we need to have the sense of where we need to know if our thoughts are affecting our emotions, or if our emotions are affecting our thoughts, and what beliefs we have. We can use fire, which is the seat of transformation, our Agni, the center of transformation, to transform negative thoughts into positive thoughts, negative emotions into positive emotions, outdated beliefs into healthier, updated beliefs. And kind of this energy, this tejas, this energy of the fire needs to be balanced and healthy so that we can do that. So when we do get into a little bit of a slump, we can bring ourselves out of it in a healthy way. When we may be going down a little spiral of a negative thought pattern, again, bringing ourselves out of that in a healthy way. And to balance the mind, I always think that there has to be two ways of doing it. One, there needs to be the stillness of the mind. So you're sitting in silence. If it is that you don't enjoy meditating, then just sitting in silence. You don't need to call it meditation. If you do meditate, meditating, obviously, contemplating or journaling is lovely. Kind of going in, introspective, and doing the quiet stuff so that everything can kind of balance itself out in its own way and time. So we need that aspect to us. The other aspect that I find that we need when it comes to having a healthy mental sheath is that we need to have mental stimulation. So there has to be a sense of learning. That's why you'll find like that things like Sudoku and Scrabble are very popular in mainstream health because it keeps the mind active. My dad's nodding there his head. He is a huge fan of Scrabble and Sudoku. So he's not going to have to worry about Alzheimer's because his mind is rearing ahead. But it's stuff like this, joining this workshop where you are, learning maybe new concept or being reminded of concepts again, something that is positive. It's not like we're sitting in front of TV watching Netflix, watching, the latest show that is maybe draining and could maybe be causing a negative kind of energy seat in us. So listening to podcasts, listening to talks, being part of things that are uplifting and learning. And with that comes, with what I'm busy doing, is teaching. So we learn by teaching. And that's why I love to do these workshops, is because that when I'm forced to give a workshop and to teach, I'm actually learning at a deeper level. So for those of you who are yoga teachers or have clients or just going to hang out with your friends, maybe take one little concept from the talk today and teach it in a class or chat about it with a friend or a client. So that you practice the learning aspect as well. Right. We've got two more layers to go, and this won't take too long. So the intuitive sheath, and I've got a beautiful image there by one of my students, Winrousseau. She's got an Instagram page there. She's an amazing artist. And we've been having a lot of conversations in the last couple of weeks. And she just taps into intuition so easily. She every single day, she's like an artist, like I said, every single day she takes out her notepad. She literally puts, I think, a timer on for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and she'll just sketch kind of whatever comes. And the latest project that has been coming out are her little plumpies. So it's her kind of like doing yoga in different states of mind, and I absolutely love them. And for me, it's just, that's exactly what, when intuition is talking to you, you're kind of in your little zone, you're doing your little thing. You're not wanting an outcome. You're not aiming for an outcome. You're just allowing pen to paper and noticing what arises. And the same is with my mom. I know when she does a lot of her painting and her artwork, she'll also just have a blank canvas and she'll start diddling around there, and the most amazing pictures and images come out. So what I want to say about this intuitive sheath is that we really need to learn to just listen to our intuition. And there are different ways, again, of doing that. Meditation, contemplation, journaling, and also being able to speak with clarity from how we're feeling, our kind of intuitively, from what comes up, what our own truth is. And that often happens when all the layers of the 5 koshas, when we're able to observe them with compassion and without judgment, and just kind of knowing, you know, what's in balance, what's not in balance, where do I need a little bit of focus, what needs a bit of attention, and intuitively, you know, so that you don't pretty much have like a schedule, like, okay, from Monday 8 to 9, I'm working on, you know, physical body. From 9 to 10, I'm working on the pranic body. It's connecting with, okay, where am I? What is needing attention? Oh, intuition. Okay, what can I do intuitively now that can build my intuition? Sit with it, notice what comes up. For some of it, it might be going out into the garden. For some, it might be going out into nature. For some, it might be journaling, painting. It's all there. We often do it as well in our yoga practice. I've got the breath body practices, that physical feeling. So if you're doing a practice, if it's yoga, Pilates, whatever it is, allowing intuition to guide you in your practices, and kind of seeing what comes up, playing with it, not having like a prescriptive way of this I'm going to do and then that the next. And then finally, the Anandamaya-kosha, that bliss sheath, that ether element, that sense of space. And like I like to call it the yummy sheath. It's just connecting, allowing ourselves to connect to something that is greater than us. And obviously we need all the practices of before to be able to connect with this sheath, where we just actually start to let go. We don't hold any attachments. We just let things be. And we've all experienced that sense of bliss, be it just a pin drop of a moment sometimes, if we're in meditation, if we're out in nature, but we've all had that, like, where it just feels everything has gone quiet and still, and it's like you understand, like all the answers are there. And to be able to spend a little bit of time in that every day, that bliss sheath is lovely. Great. All right, guys. So that was pretty much the 5 koshas. It was a very quick little run through them, and practical maybe activities and things that you can do to nurture, nourish them and sustain them. I am going to do a yoga nidra practice with you guys now. So, and it'll be on the 5 koshas. It's a nice way, yoga nidra I always find is such a nice way of just embodying everything that you're learning, so that it's kind of just gets filtered into your subconscious really easily. So I'm going to stay here, but I'm going to invite you to lie wherever you feel comfortable. So if you've got a yoga mat around, just lie yourself down next to a yoga mat. If you're on a couch, lie on a couch. You can switch your screen off if you want. You can leave it on. If you're on your bed, lie on your bed. You really just want to be completely comfortable and at ease. So making sure that you're getting into that space of comfort now. And allow yourself to relax your physical body. That may mean you just need to lower the head a little from side to side. It may mean that you need to yawn, stretch the body. You may have to have your knees bent. You may prefer to have your legs straight. You may have to have a pillow under your head or a cover over you. And then observe your breath. So you're just going to feel the breath as it flows in And you're going to feel the breath as it flows out. And you're not going to tell the breath where to go. You're going to observe it. So you might find that it naturally moves up and down Sushumna Nadi, your central energy channel. You might find it naturally feels like expanding and contracting. And you might feel that it kind of like plays between the two of those sometimes. Just observing. Noticing how the body and the mind are becoming more and more still with each breath that you take. And then we're going to start with the physical body, the physical sheath. And ask your physical body just to observe the presence. How is it feeling? Notice the space you're in. Notice how the body is feeling. And maybe ask that part of you.
Okay, I found this on the web for space here and how the body is feeling. Check it out.
Sorry, Siri arrived. Don't know what happened there. All right, so just taking ourselves back into that space. And ask yourself, what is one thing that your body is craving that you can do to nourish it better? And it might be something simple that comes up, like it may want more water. It may be asking you to move it for just 5 minutes in the morning, or to maybe eat more veg, or to eat less frequently. Noticing what it is that your physical body is asking from you right now. Noticing that. And then letting go. Notice the breath as it moves in and out, expanding and contracting again. Noticing the energy within you. Feel it, be with it. Let it nourish you on a physical level and let it go deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper into your soul, into that space of consciousness. And again, maybe just asking that energy sheath, what is it needing from you at the moment? Does it need more attention? What practice is it craving from you right now? And just observing whatever comes up without judgment. Often the mind likes to get busy and interfere. It likes to engage. And can you allow all the incoming thoughts to just be, and to come and go as they please without judgment, like clouds passing by? And as those clouds and those thoughts pass by, asking that mental, emotional aspect of you, what is it needing? What is it craving? Is it craving to be heard? Does it want to be understood? Is it wanting more quiet time? Again, without judgment, without over-analyzing anything, just allowing whatever arises to arise. And then noticing that your intuition is right there. Sometimes it's easy to hear, sometimes it's a little challenging. What is your intuition telling you right now? What is it that you are needing to hear? Being honest without sugarcoating anything, without judgment. What is intuitively arising for you? And now just be that. Allow yourself the access to that bliss sheath. For 1 minute, we're going to let go. And 1 minute can sometimes seem like a really long time, but it's not. Just enjoy that state of stillness. And if the other layers seem loud or come into play, like the mind or the body, that's fine. Let them be, and let go, and let go, and let go. Lovely, and from that lovely sense of inner stillness, that inner knowing, you just start to breathe a little more deeply. Noticing the chest rise and fall. Noticing that sense of expansion and contraction. Becoming aware of the sounds around you, the physical space you're in.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
And then slowly bringing yourself back here, back into the space and time you're in. Maybe again, just allowing the thumbs to move along your fingertips, waking up your hands, wiggle your toes, waking up your feet. When you're ready, stretch your arms out behind you, yawning if you want to. Stretching diagonally through the body, right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg. Arms one way, legs the other. Take a nice deep breath in. And give your knees a good squeeze. If you need to rock a little from side to side, go ahead and do so. Eventually, you just roll onto your right side. Or if you want to stay lying down, that's absolutely fine. Again, no rushing. No forcing. What is it that your body is wanting? What is it that your mind is wanting? So yeah, welcome back after that relaxation. It's always, I love yoga nidra. It just always puts you in such a quiet, soft kind of space. And it's so important that we do practices like this yoga nidra regularly, no matter how long or how short it is. But it brings us back into balance and just into that universal rhythm again, kind of connecting to that pulsation of the universe. Once we still everything down, we can connect with that consciousness. So that is pretty much what my course is about. The shifting from chaos to rhythm is all about. It's an annual program, and pretty much what we do is we work with the 10 habits of Ayurveda in the course, and we do it over a year where we start to bring ourselves back into rhythm. So no matter how much kind of chaos you have in your life, some of us have a lot of chaos, some of us have a little chaos, but it's kind of like we tap into that chaos and we bring order and structure to it so that kind of we can expand our sense of order and we're able to get a stronger feeling of being balanced and nourished and healthy. So with this course, we work with the 10 habits of Ayurveda. A lot of them are on my blog and my website, which you're welcome to go to. We work with habit evolution and we do it all in a dynamic group. So if anyone is interested in joining this program, then definitely let me know. We'll have a chat and we can see if the course is right for you. I'm starting my pilot with 5, and I know Ronald's in one of the participants here today who's joining the group. And we're starting the pilots on the 15th of November. I've got space for 5 people in that, and we're doing it so that I can become certified as a yoga health coach. So that's why it's pretty much half price, the course now. It's the cheapest it's ever going to be. So really do join if you've got a chance. And yeah, we'll work with the habits of Ayurveda. We do that over a year. We take time working in a group. We're accountable. I can see Chris is just logged in. He's my accountability partner in the States, who's awesome. And just having that person or people or group who you're accountable to, so that you can really, really move into thriving and accepting and getting to your next level of health and vitality and balance is pretty much unbelievable. It's really amazing. So that's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Let me know if you have any ahas from the work that we did. Let me actually stop the screen share so that I can see who's here around. Let me know if you've had any ahas. Let me know if you've got any questions. We've got a couple of minutes before it's 7 o'clock. So if anyone wants to say anything, you're welcome to just unmute yourself or type it in our little chat. Oh, thanks so much, Chris. That was lovely. That's such a lovely comment. Thank you. Very sweet. Thanks, Ronald. You're welcome. Bonnie, you're welcome. Kashmiri, you're welcome. I know, it's amazing how quickly time flies by. You're kind of like an hour and yeah, having so much fun. So I really appreciate it. I know there are lots of things you could have been doing on a Friday evening instead of being here and listening to a Kosha talk, but hopefully it's been inspirational. Hopefully it's been nice and uplifting. And it's given you some food for thought and some practices that you can do. And again, if you're interested in joining me on this journey, which I have found unbelievable, and I know Chris is also totally loving the journey that we are on in our group, really do look at joining in. So yeah, Chris, do you want to say something? Because I know we were meant to meet.
Thank you so much, Nina. I put this in the chat box, but I just wanted to make sure you heard it out loud from me. I had some training on the koshas in my yoga teacher training, and I've since taken full workshops on the koshas. And I left today with much more actionable, practical understanding and tools to use for those. So that was excellent. Yeah, I do want to tag into what you said about how amazing and transformative this process is. And, you know, I'm grateful to have gotten to work with you and get to know you over the last 6 weeks or so. And I think I'm happy that I'm doing my own programs, but part of me wishes that now or later I'd have a chance to do the program with you. I think it's going to be amazing.
Thanks, Chris. Oh, you're great. Lovely. Lovely seeing you and chatting. So, guys, yeah, let me know if anyone has any more questions. Otherwise, we can definitely call it a night and we can go make ourselves a nice chai tea and head to bed shortly. At least that's what I'm going to be doing. It's farm life. We're up at 4 o'clock and in bed by 8 usually. So I know that for the city dwellers, that might not quite be the case. You've probably got a few more hours in you. But yeah, when you've been up and about running around a farm since 4 o'clock, bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock sounds like a warm welcome. All right, cool. Lots of love to you guys. Danielle, thank you so much. Nice kind of seeing you virtually, and lots of love, guys. Have a good evening, and we'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Namaste.